Hey yo, what's good, y'all? I'm Malcolm McFadden, creator of 615 Comics, and you're watching the Yo a Nerd podcast, episode 6. And I got a really good episode for y'all today. As you already know, I like to talk about different topics within the nerd realm that I'm interested in. I think that people would be interested in, all right? And of course, we already know the Superman movie has come out, has been released to the world. It's been about a week since it's come out. So I wanted to do my spoiler review of the new Superman movie and give y'all my thoughts on it. And that's what we're going to start with today. All right. So just to give y'all my overall thoughts, I saw the movie a couple times. When I first saw it, I was kind of very disappointed. I came out the movie thinking like, bro, what did I just watch? Like I told my brother that I was like, bro, I have no clue what I just watched. And so I watched it a second time. And on the second time, I actually enjoyed the movie more and kind of things solidified what happened in the movie. But the problem was that when things became solidified in my head, what happened in the movie, I kind of started to think about the movie a little bit more, and it kind of decreased my like of it. So after my first watch, I gave it like a 5. And then after my second watch, I gave it a 7 till I kind of started to think about it more. And then now I kind of give it like a 6, in between a 6 and a 7 for my rating of the Superman movie. Now, I feel like this movie kind of just really wasn't for me in a way. I didn't like a lot of things in the movie. There were a lot of things I did like, but there was more things I didn't like from this movie, all right? So I had like a whole TikTok video where I talked about my positives and my negatives that I never even released. So I'm just going to use that here to tell y'all what I think about the Superman movie. So incoming TikTok clip now.
I like to be positive, so I'm gonna start with things I did like about this movie. I like the world that we're in. I love this comic booky DCU world. I love this comic booky world. It feels like anything can happen from the comic books. We got interdimensional imps. We also have pocket universes. Like, bro, that's tough, bro. I love this universe that we live in. It's very comic booky, and I've said I think this is the most comic booky universe in live action besides the Doom Patrol universe. Also like how we jumped in. I know we jumped in and people are complaining we kind of jumped in like halfway through. It seems like we jumped into like a middle of the show. I was kind of cool with that because sometimes when you pick up a comic, sometimes you come up right into action. Like when you start a brand new arc and it's not like an origin arc or something like that, or something that has like flashbacks, you kind of start right into the action, you feel me? You start right into the action, and this kind of felt like a brand new arc of Superman that you kind of just jump into straight on. And like first 20 minutes felt like a comic book, but after that, stop feeling like a comic book. But we're talking about positive. Fortress of Solitude. Bro, this is the best Fortress of Solitude we ever got. This Fortress of Solitude was fire. I liked how it like appeared and disappeared, could move around and stuff. Like this Fortress of Solitude was the best we've ever gotten in live action. It may be the best I've seen, just period. Like that is tough. A lot of people had a problem with Crypto, think he was in the movie too much, and I thought Crypto served his purpose. Like he did a very good job. Every time he was in, I believe, even the ones with jokey scenes with him, he still served a purpose, and I was not expecting to think that leaving out this movie. Jimmy Olsen was fire. Jimmy Olsen was a pimp. I love how they did Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen was fire. This Jimmy, bro, okay, he was cooked. Of course, you already know Mr. Terrific was fire. Mr. Terrific was fire. I don't even need to say more. I made a video about that. Mr. Terrific was dope. And like I said, I like this comic book universe. I'm gonna come back to that. Is the fact that I like that, you know, heroes been around for centuries. You feel me? I love that heroes have been around for centuries, and I also like that it's Clark year 3. You feel me? I know people were mad that they didn't show his origin, but he spoke on his origin when he was talking to Lois Lane in the interview scene, which I definitely like the interview scene. I like that Lois pressed him and was like, yo, these is the real questions. These is things that people gonna ask. You kind of gotta get prepared to go out here and answer these reporter questions, because right now you're only answering your own questions. I very much like that Lois pressed him like that. I like it. I love Metamorpho. I think he served a purpose in this film. Like having him being one of Lexus's like metahumans that he just got in Tuck. I love that because Lex always has a metahuman in Tuck for some reason. Like they have a power that fits his narrative and what he wants to do, and Metamorpho did that perfectly. I like how they used him, and he actually had a purpose without having way too much time in the film, which was actually dope. I like that Lex is a premier hater. I love that. I love Superman using the hypno glasses. I love that. I loved him using all his powers like the freeze breath, the heat vision, flight. I loved him using his power. But yeah, that's about all I got. Okay, I did my positives. Let's talk about the things I don't like. Overall, I just didn't like Superman. I'm not saying this guy did a bad job of playing Superman. just didn't like the Superman that they portrayed in this movie. I think he was very much comic book accurate, or whatever you want to call it. I think he was very much hopeful and trying to see the good in people, but the way he comes off is kind of like a kid. He kind of comes off as like a mad kid that can't really handle his emotions. And I feel like for year 3 Superman, like, you've been in this mix, you feel me? I feel like some of the scenes with him just yelling like a frustrated little kid, they just didn't do it for me. Also, the suit is trash. Like when they did the little perp walk scene, bro, I started dying because I'm like, why? This is not the suit to be doing a perp walk to show off the suit. You feel me? It very much feels CW. Matter of fact, the CW suit was better. Also didn't like the fact that this man just got beat up throughout most of the movie. Like, he really only won when other people helped him. Like, that was crazy to me. Like, he's Superman, bro. He's Superman. I didn't like that it didn't seem like he was really showing any resistance when he was going up against Ultraman, aka his clone. Like, I get that Lex had studied him and Lex had like 2,500 different counter moves, but at times it just felt like Superman was just getting beat up. It felt like he wasn't even trying to offer resistance. It felt like Lex didn't even need to know his fighting style because the man wasn't even really trying to throw punches at some of the time. Like, I feel like he could have did something in between Lex calling out the order, since he's Superman. And we've seen him display super speed in this film, so I feel like, why couldn't you act before Lex said something? That's just one of my nick. Also, I seen another creator point out the fact that why didn't Superman realize that he was literally the cameras were literally flying around him every time he fought Ultraman. Like, there was literally cameras flying around him every scene that he fights Ultraman. You can see those cameras because that's how Lex is seeing the fight. Why didn't Superman realize that those cameras were literally following him the entire fight? Why was it until the very end that he realized that they were fighting him? I know that he finally realized because Lex was talking to him. He kind of finally realized, like, okay, Lex is controlling these cameras and is helping him. But bro, you literally fighting this man most of the movie, and why didn't you see those cameras in every other scene? Now, that wasn't mine. That another creator said that, so I don't want to take credit for that. But that made me think about that too. Also, that, like, along with that, they made this man kind of seem dumb. Like, why are you a reporter and you don't even know how to work a recorder? Why does Lois Lane have a recorder and you don't even know how to press the record button to stop and start the recording? You're a reporter, bruh. Also, I know people love that whole monologue that he did at the end about being human. I like the monologue. Didn't like the way he delivered it. Not at all. Like I said, it sounds like a frustrated kid. Ultraman. Cool what you did with him, but naming him Ultraman was straight dumb if you weren't gonna be Ultraman. Why even use that name if you're basically just gonna give us a Bizarro type character? Alright, just give him any other name besides Ultraman and then let him turn into Bizarro later on. If you weren't gonna give us Ultraman from comics, don't use his name. I hated when they did that with Cassandra Cain for the Birds of Prey movie. If you don't use that name if this character is literally nothing like this character. Also the same with Taskmaster from the Black Widow movie. Don't use this name if you're just not going to do nothing like the character. Another part, I didn't like the fact that it felt like the pocket dimension was kind of wasted. Like, Lex Luthor has all these people captive, but he only has people that spoke bad about him and ex-girlfriends and Metamorpho. Why weren't there more people like Metamorpho locked up? Or at least maybe he did have some, but I wish we could have seen like a cameo. Like, you have all of that and y'all decided not to like make a cameo of evil villains or maybe heroes that he got captured. I thought that was a waste in the movie. Like, you could have did something better with the pocket dimension, but instead you gave us monkeys on computers. The whole hashtag super shit, I definitely didn't like that whole scene. Like, everything having to do around with super shit, that was weird. Especially Clark's reaction to it when he said literally moments before that he doesn't pay attention to the internet. But it made him so mad that he yelled at Lois about it. Also didn't like that it feels like nobody respects this man in the film. Not even Lois seemed like she really respected this man in the film. It seemed like she liked this man, but it seemed like nobody really respected him. Like, Justice Gang didn't even jump. He got captured. Nobody jumped out there for him. Even seen after 3 years, he's been saving people, and y'all see this video, and nobody had enough respect, knew Superman enough to be like, hey, we are standing with you. I don't know in any time in comics or anything where Superman has been Superman and been Superman everybody knows and loves, and people are like, okay, we're not gonna go help Superman just because we don't want to. Like, I get it was God Gardner, I get it was Hawk Girl, but like, Superman is supposed to inspire people, like y'all keep saying. Like, Superman's supposed to inspire people. Why didn't they feel inspired once he first got captured to help him? Why wasn't it until later that they helped him, and didn't even help him? They helped the people that were at war. You feel me? That scene I also didn't like because they wanted Superman. They were literally calling for Superman, and that was a great way to have Superman swoop in, save the day, and have Superman have that moment with the people, that loving moment, that inspiring, that hope moment. Instead, y'all had the Justice Gang go save them, and Guy Gardner just go save them. Guy Gardner, I'm not mad at his character, but it was very much disappointment that they didn't do more with his constructions than just like middle fingers. Like, I feel like they could have definitely done more of that if you're gonna have him in the film. Hawk Girl also was a waste. There was kind of no point in her being there besides screeching and killing a yo. So it's kind of like the Justice Gang besides Miss Terrific didn't even need to be in the film. Especially with a 2-hour runtime, they especially didn't need to be in the film. That's also a thing I didn't like, the 2-hour runtime. I don't like superhero movies that are short because I feel like y'all don't dive into it as much. Y'all really don't dive into the characters as much as you can with these 2-hour runtimes. Just give me 2 hours and 30 minutes. This movie could have been so much better with just extra 30 minutes where you can flesh out things. That's also a thing I didn't like. I feel like you never got to sit with things. It just jumped. You never even got to sit with him. His parents, like you said, you felt like you got his parents for a very short bit, and then somehow at the end they're showing him with footage of him as a kid with his parents. Also didn't like that scene for a couple reasons. I didn't like that because it didn't seem like the entire movie you showed him really loving his parents and with his parents. There was kind of 2 scenes with his parents, like they called him and then he went over there after he got beat up and he had the heel and everything. Like, I feel like I feel like Clark himself really wasn't into his parents' relationship. Literally, when he asked for his parents' message, it was the parents from Krypton. The robots told him, oh, this soothes him. This is something that he listens to all the time. Why weren't you watching a video of you with your parents on Earth all the time? Why does these people that you never met seem to resonate with you more than the people that raised you? And also, nitpick for that scene. Who the hell took the videos? Who the hell took the videos of Clark with his parents? It had to be the robots because they showed that his parents can't use phones. Like, I'm telling you, this is just my nitpick. This is solely me nitpick, all right? But who took the video of his parents that with him playing with his parents as a kid? Because if they couldn't use a phone, how were they taking the videos? And they were also in the videos. It had to be the robots. That's my thinking. I've already answered that for myself. Had to be the robots. Lex, it's very hard for me to say I don't like Lex because I very much did like Lex, and I like that he was just jealous, but it didn't do it for me enough. Like, it didn't do it. Lex didn't seem as deep as he should have been, and having his whole plan foiled by his girlfriend, that was crazy to me. Having Lex's girlfriend foil the whole plan kind of undercut Lois and Lex for me. Like, Lex, you didn't know that your girlfriend was taking selfies while you had all this stuff around, all this top secret information, and your girlfriend literally just taking selfies like that with the stuff in the background. Like, bro, you really just allowed that to happen? Also, it undercut Lois for me because I feel like Lois as a journalist kind of didn't do anything. Like, she was on track to kind of finding out what Lex was doing. She was trying to, and then Jimmy's like, hey, I got this lead, and it wasn't even Lois's lead. Like it was literally the other girl giving him all the information. It wasn't even Lois's lead. It was Jimmy Olsen's. I feel like Lois didn't really do no good reporting except when she interviewed Clark. I feel like that was it. And I also felt like Lois really didn't mess with my mans. She really didn't mess with him at all. It felt like out of nowhere she just ended up loving him. Like, maybe she needed to think that over a little bit, but I feel like there were some scenes cut that could have very much dabbled in that we didn't see. I think there was a lot cut from this movie that we didn't see. I also really don't like the evacuation scenes. I feel like them evacuating is just because y'all complained about Man of Steel so much, because we never really cared about that before Man of Steel. I think the evacuation stuff takes away from the gravity of the scene, the weight of the scene, like the urgency of things. If it's just nobody's in danger, then what's kind of the point? And it takes away from the villain because it doesn't seem like the villain's really doing anything that we should actually be afraid of. You feel me? And I really don't like that this is trying to be like MCU. I really don't like that. They feel like they MCU-ified DC, and I really don't like it. I know every movie won't have this kind of MCU tone, and I'm really hoping it won't, but yeah, I really don't like the MCU-ifying of DC.
Yeah, so that's how I feel about the new Superman movie. Yeah, it kind of fell flat for me. A lot of points fell flat for me. I feel like they should have made the movie longer, should have had a longer runtime so they can really flesh out things more, but yeah, the movie kind of just falls flat for me, but I'm still excited for the DC universe that they created and what's coming forward after this. You feel me? So that's pretty dope. Okay, so now that the Superman movie has been released and now it's out, I gave y'all my spoiler review of the movie. Let's stir the pot a little bit. Let's have a little fun. I want to have fun with this episode, kind of get some conversation started, possibly some arguments, but let's stir the pot a little bit. So with this new DC movie coming out, with a new like DC universe starting from this, the new DCU and the end of the DCEU, on Twitter right now is my two favorite words: chaos and controversy, bro. Oh my God, man. Not even just Twitter, TikTok, social media is crazy. It's like in flames right now, which I fully expected with, you know, DCEU fans versus DCU fans, Zack Snyder fans versus James Gunn fans, and Zack Snyder haters, with the DC fans, DC comic fans, smack dab in the middle. And if you're a fan of one, you just get lumped in with the other. That's the funny thing about it. I like Zack Snyder's movies. I'm more of a DC fan than I would say I'm a Zack Snyder fan. But of course, I get lumped in with the Zack Snyder cultists. But I want to really stir the pot and talk about this whole conversation because I want to go into the history of this whole war, bro. Because I feel like I was there at the very start of it. And I seen it grow, and it's been crazy to watch. Crazy to watch. And this is probably going to be my hot take. This is my hot take from everything. I'm going to get started with this. MCU fans created the Zack Snyder fans that y'all hate. The toxic Snyder fans that y'all talk about. MCU fans with their toxic fan base started it, bro. like it was crazy to see online, bro. So let's go back to the Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman days. All right. And this is me coming into, you know, talking about nerd stuff on social media with other people, you know, discussing nerd stuff on social media and things like that. So this was kind of me starting out coming into that. You feel me? So coming into that, I was a huge fan of Man of Steel, and it's actually crazy. I didn't even know who Zack Snyder was at the time. I was a huge fan of 300, but I just wasn't into directors and writers and stuff at that time. So 300 was literally one of my favorite movies of all time at that time. And then when Man of Steel came out, I loved it, and I didn't find out about Zack Snyder until they started promoting Batman vs Superman. It was like, yeah, the man who created 300 and Man of Steel is doing Batman vs Superman. And that's where I got hyped. So, but being online in that time and being a fan of Zack Snyder, bro, you got so much hate. If you posted, I love Man of Steel, like there was like sharks in the water coming into your comments telling you, no, that movie was trash and you're trash. They was attacking your personality for liking this movie, bro. Like they did a lot of attacking back in the day. And especially when Batman vs Superman came out, with both Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, there's a lot of people who kind of misunderstood the movie or misconstrued the movie or just kind of really didn't pay attention while they were watching the movie. So they just started spewing lies and stuff and saying that this movie was this movie was that, and this happened in the movie when things didn't even happen. We see that now. You feel me? We see that now with people saying, oh, Superman caused most of the destruction in Metropolis. But if you watch the movie, most of the destruction happened when he wasn't even there. So things like this were said and attacking the movies, and people started defending it. And which started this thing where there was literally people who made their whole social media presence about attacking Zack Snyder and the DC movies. Then there became people who made it their whole internet personality to defend these movies and attack these people and attack MCU movies. Like it was literally a whole war going back and forth, and it was crazy. It was hilarious at times. Most times it got on my nerves, but it was hilarious. And then that became, you know, then Zack Snyder's universe kept going, and then we get to the Justice League, where Warner Brothers literally cut the hell out of Justice League and gave us the Justice League, right? Gave us the Justice League, gave us that movie, and then people were like, bro, this is not the movie that we thought we were getting. This is not the movie. You even showed us in trailers. Then there was like pictures and stuff that came out, and everybody was saying, no, the Zack Snyder cut isn't real. It's not. It's never coming out. It's not real. It doesn't exist. What we got is what we got. But then the fans went crazy. The fans went crazy, and then totally got Warner Brothers to actually put out the Snyder cut. Which, you know, divided the fan base even more. Like it became a big thing, and it became this thing of like people wanting to restore the Snyderverse. People probably see that all the time. Restore the Snyderverse. Now, me personally, I don't want to restore the Snyderverse. I love the Snyderverse, and I really wish I got Batman vs. Deathstroke and all the movies we was promised. But I'm cool with this. I'm cool. The Snyderverse gave me the Justice League, which is my favorite superhero movie of all time. So the director's cut of Justice League. So I'm cool. And then plus, Ben Affleck's not coming back. If you're not giving me Ben Affleck, I don't want this universe. You feel me? I don't want the universe that Ben Affleck's not coming back. And I just think that it's over with, and they've already started a new universe. I've seen people say that we can do the Snyderverse and animate it. I think that would be cool. But so far as live action, that universe is over, and DC is starting a brand new universe that we should support as DC fans and jump on. Even if I didn't think the new Superman movie was that great, it's still a DC universe that I'm gonna watch and see what happens because I'm a DC fan. But they started to restore the restore the Snyderverse, which is kind of still going on. And then with James Gunn taking over, he kind of revamped everything and redid things. All right. So which the war even is still going on, especially with the Superman movie coming out. Like, people are going at it. People talking about, how the new Superman didn't beat the old Superman in the box office. Like, it's a whole war going on right now. Whole war going on. It's actually kind of funny. But I just think it's crazy that, this is my opinion. I think it's crazy that we call the Snyder fans and them toxic and everything when those people literally were being attacked and then started defending themselves. But even, let's get away from that. We call them toxic, but those people raised money for suicide prevention. They raised money for suicide awareness, and they raised this money because Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide. And also, we talk about them being toxic, but the MCU fans were saying that his daughter, I don't even want to say this, I don't want to say, but they were making fun of his daughter committing suicide. I don't even want to say what they were saying because I don't want it to come out my mouth. So they were making fun. These people raised money so that for suicide, thousands of dollars that they didn't have to, because of the director and what he did and what his films mean to them, which was pretty dope. And I had to add that in there because I don't know why we call them toxic. Oh, I get why we call them toxic, but for the most part, they did some very great things that actually go beyond just being a fan of comic book movies and complaining on social media. You get what I'm saying? But to end this out, it's just crazy to see that, that people hate these Snyder's fans and call them toxic, but the MCU fans kind of created it. It's a crazy thing to see going into it. But tell me how you feel about it. I want to see what everybody else feels about it. If you were there on social media seeing all this, please tell me what you feel about it. Let's talk about it. Leave some comments. Let's argue about it for real. Let's argue about it in the comments. But continuing this conversation about the DCU, of course, with the movie coming out, James Gunn has done a bunch of interviews talking about, the future of DCU, talking about characters he might want to appear in, things like that. So I kind of want to go to a couple things that he was asked. Not all his interviews, just a couple things he was asked. So one interviewer asked him about certain characters, and one thing he talked about was Nubia. Nubia, if you don't know who Nubia is, I actually made a video describing who Nubia was. Check it on my YouTube channel. If you don't know, now you know Nubia. Check it out. But Nubia is basically Wonder Woman, but black. Like, she's Wonder Woman's sister, like twin sister. Like, they were created together out of clay. Just Nubia got kidnapped by a god and was taken off in a scare, taken away from the Amazons, right? She's actually a pretty dope character who's made like a big return into comics in the last couple of years, probably maybe 4 or 5 years. I could be, time doesn't work for me, but she's making an appearance in comics and a return in comics, and she's actually a very dope character. And then James Gunn said that, he actually smiled. He was happy and giddy about it, talking about, like, if you're a fan of her, you probably will see her soon in live action. And then I love it. But some people were mad, like, how you gonna replace Wonder Woman with Nubia? But I'm here to tell you, I think both of them are easily gonna be in this film or whatever movie they're doing the show. I do not think Nubia is going to be the Wonder Woman of the DCU. I think she's going to be the queen of the Amazons, like they just made her in the comics. I think she's going to be the queen of Themyscira, and then she's going to be leading, and she like just took over for Wonder Woman's mom. I feel like that's what's going to happen in the DCU. I think that's where it's going to be, where Nubia is the queen and Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman, out there being the hero that she is. You feel me? Which I think would be dope, and that has me hyped. All right, looking forward to that. But that was on the good side of things. Let's go to the bad side of things. James Gunn was also asked about Static. All right, Some of y'all may know him as Static Shock. But he was asked about Static, and he basically said he has no good news about Static. He has no good updates, that is kind of complicated. And if you don't know, Static is a milestone character. He's not a DC character, all right? He's not fully owned by DC. DC handles his publishing or distribution, something like one of those two or both. But Static is a milestone character along with Icon, Rocket, Hardware, the Blood Syndicate. He is a milestone character and he's owned by Milestone. And then so they kind of have like a tug of war with using the character. And that's why we don't get as much Static content as we should, even in comic books. But yeah, there's an internal struggle with the character of Static, that like having him in live action or anything. Like they even had to fight, get him in animated stuff. So there's a battle going on, and then who knows how long that would be. There was also talks with Michael B. Jordan was, trying to produce a Static film. We haven't heard no news on that in a minute. But yeah, Static is a character that a lot of us love and hold near and dear to our heart, and it sucks that we can't get him because of some internal battles. You feel me? Which really sucks, especially the whole Milestone universe. And they should get more shine. And the Milestone people said they were working on an animated universe for Milestone. But we haven't heard nothing for that in years. And I'm still holding out hope. You feel me? But that's the news on Static. You haven't even heard much from even in the comics. His comic got to season 1 and season 2 in his comic book series, and I'm looking for 3, because season 2 was fire, and season 3 I feel like it's going to be better. Season 2 introduced things from the TV show like Ebon into the comics and stuff like that, and I wanted them to expand on that in season 3. But hey, they haven't. But that's our news that's the news I want to talk about for the new DCU, the 2 black characters, really. But there's a lot of news going around about the DCU, which I'll probably talk more about in later podcasts. But that's what I want to talk about for now. So let me know how y'all feel about Nubia possibly being in the DCU, and the bad news we hear about Static. Let me know what y'all feel about in the comments. Okay, we done talked about movies and live action. Let's get into the thing that this show is really about. Let's talk about some comic books, all right? And we're going to go into another controversial topic, Black Panther. Whew. So this past New Comic Book Day was a crazy day for Black Panther. 3 comics centered around Black Panther, or at least has him in it, were released. All right, we had Imperial, which is the Marvel event that's going on right now, the big cosmic Marvel event. We had Imperial, we had Ultimate Black Panther, and we also had The World to Come, which is also a Marvel comic. The World to Come is a future story about the Black Panther and how he dies and somebody takes over as the Black Panther, which I'm pretty sure y'all heard about. So let's start with the bad, the really, really, really bad, because these 3, like, one was super fire, one was dope and still good, and one was trash, just straight garbage, like a team winning 140-70 with like 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Garbage time. That's what The World to Come is. That's what The World to Come was. So if you've been keeping up, a lot of people were outraged by this, where they said Black Panther has a white son. And I told y'all I didn't think that was his son. I thought that was his adopted son. I thought it was Ross's kid. Now, if you haven't read the issue number 2 of the new Black Panther, The World to Come, came out, and they basically solidified that I was right. They said the kid was his adopted kid, and then Ross sees him, and then says basically, why does that kid look like me? They allude to the kid being Ross's kid and T'Challa adopting him, right? After issue 1, I really thought that this series couldn't get any worse, but I was wrong, really wrong. I was right about the kid, but I was wrong about the series. I thought it couldn't get any worse, and it just did. And I think for me personally, I'm not a big fan of Christopher Priest, the man who is writing a new comic of Black Panther and who also wrote the OG Black Panther. Not a huge fan of him. Never been, because for me, I don't like that his comics are written from Agent Ross's point of view. I would like for it to be from T'Challa or somebody in Wakanda's point of view. I hate that it's from Agent Ross's point of view, who's like an outsider for real. I know like he's in with the Black Panther, but he's still like an outsider, and I hate that the stories are always from his point of view. And that's what this new one is, and that really just isn't for me. And also, I think the story is just terrible. I think it's bad. I think some of the decisions they've made and some creative decisions they made in the comic are just terrible, are just bad. You feel me? And I think it's just bad with just having this white kid be like the Black Panther, having sitting on the throne. I think this comic is really just about shock value. That's really what I think this comic is about. But enough of that. That is the bad. Let's get into the real good of the Black Panther. I think The World to Come is a trash series so far, but luckily for us, there's still Black Panther content like Ultimate Black Panther and Imperial. Ultimate Black Panther has been fire, has continued to be fire. Actually, in this new issue, him and Storm share a kiss finally at the end, which has people mad for whatever reason. You feel me? Like, they fine with Storm being with Wolverine, any of these other people. They was fine with even Doom trying to get at Storm, but people seem to have a problem with two black characters loving each other. Weird. But they finally share a kiss at the end of Ultimate Black Panther, and in that story, the spirit of Vibranium is kind of trying to destroy Wakanda. So that's good, but let's really get to the great one. Woo! Man, Imperial. If you're not reading Imperial, Imperial is this cosmic event in Marvel right now, where like out there in the universe, on different planets and stuff, kings, leaders are dying and being killed. They're being assassinated, right? And then they think it's the Wakandans. So in this new issue, Wakanda goes up against two Hulks. Black Panther goes up against two Hulks in this Imperial, and he gives them the business. Like, he literally takes his vibranium sword and cuts the arm of Hulk, and Hulk's like, bro, I felt that. Like, bro, he cut the arm of Hulk. He could probably cut Hulk's head off with that sword. Then he uses teleportation. Bro, like I'm telling you, Imperials was fire. The team on Imperials, I need them to take on a Black Panther run. The artwork, the story, how they're doing T'Challa, bro, it is just fire, bro. I'm telling you, that day, it's funny that on New Comic Book Day, when all three of these came out, that the story that is not fully centered around T'Challa was the best one. That is crazy, bro. Like, man, if you haven't read Imperials, you need to get onto it. What they doing with that world and T'Challa having him being badass is dope. And also Ultimate Black Panther, that is a series that it's a brand new series. It's on 18 right now, issue 18. But you can start over at number 1 and then continue. You don't need to know whole crazy lore and backstories. You can kind of just start with this comic, bro. And that is actually really dope about it. Don't check out The World to Come. if you want to, check it out. But yeah, it's not that good. But Black Panther has two very dope comics. His ongoing seems to seems to be canceled or stopped or paused at the moment. But at least we got Ultimate Black Panther and Imperials, because those is crazy. Definitely check those out if you are a T'Challa fan. All right, okay, we're going to continue with the topic of comics because we have a first appearance, bruh. A first appearance in comics, so if you're a collector, please listen up. Batgirl number 9. Batgirl number 9 starring Cassandra Cain has the first appearance of the Jade Tiger, all right? The Jade Tiger is the Bronze Tiger son. Not just the Bronze Tiger son, but the Bronze Tiger and Lady Shiva, who is also Cassandra Cain's mother. All right, so basically Cassandra Cain now has a half-brother whose father is Bronze Tiger, one of the greatest fighters in the DC universe. So just to give you a little backstory on who like Bronze Tiger is, so you know that this man is him. I'm probably going to do a video on him. If you don't know, now you know Bronze Tiger, to really get people hip to him, because he's one of the top fighters in the DC universe. He can go toe-to-toe with Batman and has gone toe-to-toe with Batman in hand-to-hand combat. He's one of those, bro. Like, he is him. Excuse me. But he's trained with Richard Dragon. Actually, he makes his first appearance in Richard Dragon number 1, and then they basically train side by side. Their sensei teaches them basically everything, and they train side by side, and then leave the dojo to do their own things, but they still stay together. I'm currently reading those comics, bro, and we need more modern comics with Bronze Tiger, because he is fire. He's been with the League of Assassins. He's been with Suicide Squad. He was also in the Suicide Squad animated movie. I think it's called Hell to Pay, which I thought he was going to get more content after that. which I still hope he does. He was also in Arrow. Michael Jai White played him in Arrow, which if Michael Jai White is playing you, you know that your character is badass. If you need him to play him, you know your character is badass. But he's been, like I said, he's been League of the Sads. He's been an anti-hero. He's been a villain. Like, he's been all over the DC universe. He's messed with Deathstroke. He's gone up against a whole bunch of people. But he is one of the best fighters in the DC universe, and he had a kid with one of the other best fighters in the DC universe. So you can, and also in this comic, you see him use the different fighting styles from Richard Dragon, Lady Shiva, and also Bronze Tiger. Like, he uses all the different type of fighting styles. And so this new character, I'm really hoping Jade Tiger gets some shine, because he looks dope. He has 2 dope parents. He can fight. Now they're putting him with Cassandra Cain. I want to see where they go with this. This could be a dope character. They already don't do enough with Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger should get his own miniseries in the comics. They should get their miniseries together, all right? But first appearance, Batgirl number 9. Batgirl number 9, first appearance of the Jade Tiger, son of Bronze Tiger, and Lady Shiva. So collectors, go get that joint. Go get that joint. I wasn't even reading Batgirl, but apparently Lady Shiva's dead, and I think I'm gonna have to get the other 8 issues to see what happens up to this point. So I just got number 9 because I had Bronze Tiger written and it was introducing Jade Tiger. So, and it's the start of a new storyline where it looks like these people are trying to kill Cassandra Cain. I'm guessing Jade Tiger's gonna have to help her because that's his sis, you feel me? So, first appearance of the Jade Tiger, Batgirl number 9. Check it out. Collectors, go get that joint. Maybe worth something one day. Okay, so I'm gonna end this podcast in episode 6 off with a little bit of controversy, a little bit of things for people to talk about or think about, whatever, or argue about. So, not gonna lie, this segment I was really gonna stir the pot and do Man of Steel versus Superman movie, the new Superman movie. I'm not even gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pose a different point. About these 2 Supermen, Henry Cavill and David Cornsweet. I'm gonna say something about these 2 characters. We cannot fairly compare these 2 Supermen right now. We cannot fairly compare them. And when I say that, I say it's not fair to David Cornsweet's Superman and the new Superman movie that came out. All right, whether you like Henry Cavill's or Cavill, whatever his name is. If you like Henry and Zack Snyder's, even if you don't like that version, you still can't fairly compare these. I don't care if you don't like those at all, because that Superman did way too much, been through too much for you to compare this Superman after his first movie where we didn't even see him do a lot. All right, and then let me explain. I'll use the movies as an example. In the new Superman, the Justice Gang were already together. They were together. Superman wasn't even in the Justice Gang. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the movie, they end up helping Superman out. Like, I guess he inspires them to help him. You feel me? At the end. But we can't really compare that to Henry Cavill, who had a whole universe based off him, whole universe surrounded by him. So, like, I say the Justice Gang because in the Justice League, Batman, a broken, wayward Batman, is inspired by Superman to create the Justice League. That is way different from what we get in this Superman movie. Like, this Superman gave up his life for the world in Zack Snyder's Superman. That Superman gave up his life for the world, which inspired a wayward Batman and also propped him to be the Superman that the people love, right? This Superman is 3 years in, but hasn't done that, hasn't given his life, hasn't, died for the people yet. You feel me? Like, that Superman, Zack Snyder's Superman inspired the Justice League, inspired the world, which was leading up to them going up against Darkseid. This Superman hasn't done that yet, from what we've seen in this movie. And he's only had one movie. We had Zack Snyder's Superman in Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League. 3 movies, which is all a Superman arc. All right. So the DCEU was literally a whole universe centered around Superman, literally centered around the whole all the stuff that was happening was because of him. Like literally, Steppenwolf invading. He invaded because there was no more Kryptonian. There was no more Kryptonian to stop him. There was nobody here that could like literally foil his plan. So he came here. Then sent the call to Darkseid, which Darkseid was going to come here and invade. And then, you know, Superman sent Steppenwolf back. And then so Darkseid was like, all right, ready my armies. All right. So literally this whole universe takes place is based off of Superman. Whereas this universe doesn't seem to be based off Superman, doesn't be centered around Superman. Superman is just a character in this universe, if you get what I'm saying. So we really can't compare these two Supermen, even if you're a hater and hate on the Zack Snyder Superman, even if you're a hater and hate on David Cornsweet Superman. We really can't compare these two Supermen because one has gotten fleshed out in time to do things while one didn't. You get what I'm saying? One literally had a whole universe surrounded by him while one is just a character in that universe. So I love that, you know, people are make content off it and all that, but we really fairly can't compare these two Supermen. And that's just my take on that. But we're going to compare them anyway. We're going to compare them anyway because I'm not going to lie to you. I like Man of Steel more than Superman. That's my opinion. Yeah. That you may not share the same opinion. We can argue about it in the comments. If you leave a comment, we can argue about it. Which one you think is better? But that's my 2 cents, 1 cent, whatever, on the whole Superman comparisons. We got to give David Cornsweet some more time, give his Superman some more time to grow and see him actually do things in this universe before we really compare him to Henry Cavill's Superman. But hey, yo, that's all I got for you today. That was episode 6. I would like to thank y'all for watching and thank you all the supporters who watched the other 5 episodes too. This is Yo a Nerd, and if you already know, you gotta like, comment, and subscribe. Please like the channel and like the video. Comment. We leave some comments. We can argue. We can argue in the comments and tell me what you think. Give your opinions on the things I said, and then subscribe so we can continue arguing. Subscribe so you can see my later videos and we can continue arguing about these topics and talking about these topics. All right. But thank y'all for watching. This is episode 6 of Yo a Nerd. Peace.